things of the week. And for my thing of the week, all I can say is get your ass to Mars.
Yeah, yeah, hurry up, Elon.
Yeah. um, so I watched the original Total Recall 1990 version.
You mean the
Uh,
only Total Recall?
yes, the only Total Recall. With starring Arnold Schwarzenegger and who else? We also had Sharon Stone, uh, Michael Ironside, Ronnie Cox.
The most famous odd-numbered boob in history.
Yes. And it's of course it was directed by Paul Verhoeven, same guy that did RoboCop and Starship Troopers. And what I forgot about was that it's based on a Philip K. Dick short story.
Yeah, was it like we'll remember it wholesale price or whatever? Or
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, we'll remember it for you wholesale. I think. Yeah.
that sounds right.
um,
Yeah, we'll remember it for you wholesale.
Whatever for yeah. So and I'm assuming. By the way, I actually this was the first time I had seen it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Wow, for once a classic 80s or 90s movie that I saw before you.
I know. It happens. But yeah, this was. I think the reason I avoided it was because my parents watched it and
Hmm.
they didn't like it.
Mm.
So I kind of went, okay, well, if they didn't like it, I probably won't like it. But that was not the case. I actually did like this. I think actually I think the reason they probably didn't like it was because they don't really get Paul Verhoeven.
Hmm. Not
uh,
big RoboCop or Starship Trooper fans.
right? Yeah. Um, because most people probably know this about Verhoeven. He's most of his movies are very satirical in nature. Not really parody, but definitely commentary on whatever it is that's in the that's going on in there. You saw that with RoboCop with all the
Mhm.
like the commercials and the everything that was going on with the plot, and definitely with Starship Troopers. With all the propaganda in there. And
I'm doing my part.
yes, I'm doing my part. Only good bug is a dead bug. um, and But you definitely get that with this one too, because yeah, you had the whole thing with recall, and like, oh, you can have a new memory implanted, and the whole Mars uprising and everything.
Hmm.
um, but yeah, I mean, it's a good movie. It's definitely very psychological, as well as having a lot of action in it. And yeah, it's I was pleasantly surprised by it. And Definitely would recommend anybody watch it if you haven't watched it already. And you can definitely avoid the other Total Recall, because unfortunately I watched that. I have seen that one and I hated it.
I thought it was all right, but I thought it was a waste of well, it's something that we'll be talking about later, where you just take a name that you have the rights to and staple it into something else that could have been its own thing.
Mhm.
But no, like in the remake, I actually kind of liked. I know it's implausible and stupid, but I kind of like the idea of the shaft that went through the earth
Yeah.
with the train. Like that was just neat visually.
Yeah. I will say visually that movie was really good. Like the visuals were amazing, but the rest of it was eh.
Yeah, especially if you compare it to the original.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but yeah, it's on on HBO Max.
Now, do you prescribe to, or do you just prescribe? Do you subscribe to the theory that the entire movie just took place in his head as the vacation, or do you think that all actually happened?
I kind of lean towards it being a dream or being in his head, because there's some like leaps in logic that happen, and some stuff that kind of goes, I don't know. So yeah, part of me thinks it was a dream.
Yeah, see, now this is kind of a bias that I have that that one of your boy Zach's comments really crystallized just the idea that a movie that ends with "and it was all a dream" is just the biggest
Yeah,
waste of time you could possibly do.
yeah. I tend to agree with that for the most part, unless you kind of like put breadcrumbs in it throughout the
Mhm.
movie that there's something else going on. But but I mean, they kind of. I mean, I'll give Verhoeven credit that he left it ambiguous
Mhm.
to leave it up to the viewer's interpretation as to whether or not it was actually happening.
Right. It is all possible that it is just his vacation. And he wakes up. It's like, wait, what?
Yeah, yeah,
But it felt so real. Yes, that's the idea of the service.
yes. Yeah.
Speaking of, I don't have a transition.
Uh,
Sorry.
that's all right.
My thing of the week, I resisted Spook all through Spooktober, but I did catch the. I ended up catching all of the Fox animated Halloween specials on Hulu over the course of a few days. And I say, wait, DB, why would you subject yourself to some of those? Well, I usually watch Bob's Burgers. This year's wasn't too strong as a Halloween special. It kind of had a, oh, it's we're here on this farm where they pretend it's like pagan Britain in the 100 BC, and oh, is Louise on her school field trip there going to get sacrificed by the crazy locals in full sight of everyone? Like, gee, I wonder if it's a comedic misunderstanding. Oh, sorry guys, spoilers. I guess I didn't, you didn't know until then that they were going to sacrifice one of their five characters in the 13th season.
Yeah.
Although, although, if I think her name, I think her like name is like what Louis Shaw or something like that, something
Mhm.
Shaw. If she played hardball towards mid-season, that would be a hell of a way to write her off the show, which might actually fit some of the original spirit because up until wiser heads prevailed on Bob's Burgers, it was going to turn out that the Belchers were feeding or their burgers were made of people.
I think I remember hearing about that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of those. Oh yeah, no, that would be an awful idea.
Yeah.
Uh, but after that one kind of let me down, and Treehouse of Horror 34 was really good. I said, okay, I'll try out the other two just for completion, and I'll just touch on those briefly. The Great North is the stuff from Bob's Burgers that fell on the floor and congealed, and they pretend it's a burger.
Ugh.
It's basically what if Bob's Burgers, but without all of the charm, wit, or comedic performances? Because like if you just wrote out a lot of the jokes in Bob's Burgers, they wouldn't be particularly funny. But the way that the actors convey them often elevates it.
Uh, yeah.
But none of that here. No, I
Mm.
don't know how it keeps getting seasons outside of Fox having a thing to plug in. And then Family Guy, I don't know if I hate saying that it was. I might have enjoyed it more than Bob's Burgers just because some of the manatee jokes did land, and it was kind of a commentary on how awful Peter is. But there are also like some really weird. There are some manatee jokes that worked, and some manatee jokes that were just like okay, weirdly political, and you don't like. Okay, I get it.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
The best joke was this takedown of podcast advertising.
Mm.
That I thought was funny, but it's also like okay, this has nothing to do with the rest of the episode, as is the nature of the manatee joke.
Yeah.
So I have to ultimately give it a well. It's Family Guy. It's probably as good as Family Guy can be in season 20.
Yeah.
But, weirdly enough, Seth MacFarlane still has still has good chemistry with himself as Stewie as Stewie and Brian.
Ryan. Yeah.
uh, which it sounds weird to say, but he's good at like Bob's Burgers is actually shot with everybody flying down or driving in and doing these performances live in the same room. So a lot of it's often ad libbed off each other.
Oh, okay.
McFarlane is good at making it seem like that, even though he's voicing half the cast. So I'll give him that.
Yeah. Yeah, the Stewie and Brian episode centric episodes always cracked me up because it's like, well, it's just Seth MacFarlane having a conversation with himself.
Yeah. The, the, And there was a timeline that I kind of wish we had gotten to see, where Family Guy didn't get brought back because of the strong DVD sales.
Mm,
And then but we would have had like this little like cult classic 3-season thing, and then Seth would have gone on to work with other people, because he's a great voice actor, great singer, he has good comedic timing, he can be funny at times, but he got he had 3 shows at his peak. That's too much power for any one man.
yeah, 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 and who knows? Maybe we would have gotten the Orville a lot sooner.
Yep.
Mm,
But okay, so now we've gotten all the non-Simpson stuff out of the way.
yes.
Let's talk Simpsons. So uh, their Death Note parody, the Death Tome, has been making the rounds around the internet in weeb circles, and that's what everyone cares about. And they actually got Dr. Movie, the anime studio, to do the animation for them,
Mhm.
which I wonder, like, okay, this looks like it's too. This does not look at the Simpsons writers or animators' usual team pretending to do anime. This looks real.
Yeah.
Um, this is probably a strong take, but it's probably the least of the 3 segments,
Mm,
because it's just basically Death Note. It's just like, okay, this was
yeah.
Death Note, but Lisa is light. There were a
Yeah.
couple of amusing little jokes, like one of the premises is that Lisa can't kill somebody the same way twice. It's like she starts running low on ideas. So it's like one death is alligator comes out of the sewer and eats somebody, and then you have a couple more. Then the next one is lion jumps out of the sewer or out of the toilet and eats somebody. Um, I actually liked they did a Babadook parody. So I'm told that if you'd actually ever seen the Babadook, that it's just basically the Babadooks that take some of the fun out of it.
Oh.
But I liked it because it was Marge and Maggie having interactions that you don't usually get to see.
Mm,
Yeah, it's just basic. Yeah,
mm.
how often does Maggie get to do something besides and falling over?
Not very often.
No. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Of course, the one that everyone is, like, so in the run up, everybody was going nuts over the Death Note,
Yeah.
but what everyone's really going nuts over is the Simpsons Westworld parody, where it's basically it's like it's where it's an amusement park um, set in the Simpsons, or where it's like there are robot Simpsons running around. It's like every classic episode and moment there is a Simpsons doll or a robot representing them. A friend of mine said that he said, I call the big one Bitey at 2 seconds before somebody else in the show did. And he was like, wait, that's what they're doing? What is this? I won't spoil it, but I will say that somebody from Bob's Burgers might have gotten to be in a better Halloween special this year.
Ah.
So, yeah, if you only have time for one Simpsons, why would it be anything but Simpsons?
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was a good year. Simpsons seems to have actually been going on a little bit of an upswing lately, because I watched
Mm,
a few from season 33 and thought they were enjoyable. It seems to
mm.
have settled into kind of like a season 2, 3 groove, with like a touch
Mm.
of the later wackiness.
Oh,
There's like
well.
the plots are kind of not necessarily grounded, but they're more focused on the characters. It feels like,
Mm,
which is weird, but it's like,
yeah.
okay, I don't mind it.
Yeah.
Speaking of things we don't mind,
Yes.
talking